Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Voices of the Internet. I'm actually making this video as more of a follow-up to my previous video. There's some things that I did not include. So I spoke about myself being, me being a Pisces, and my birthday was recently March 6th. So March 6th Pisces. I talked about how I was feeling a bit unsettled and uncomfortable and irritated and frustrated and a bit out of touch leading up to my birthday. But I did not really talk about what I did on my birthday that actually really started to turn that feeling around and give me a new perspective on how I was feeling and seeing things in my life. So I told myself, I live in Florida. I told myself that if on my birthday, if the weather was nice, by chance, it's been cold all this past few months. Yes, it does get cold in Florida. So I told myself that if the weather was nice on my birthday and it was a nice warm day, that I would take myself to the beach for my birthday, which thankfully is exactly what I ended up doing, because it was like maybe, I think March 6th was the only day that I've actually seen my car since last fall. It's the only day that I've seen my vehicle hit like 100 degrees. Actually, maybe since last summer. So on my birthday, and since my birthday, now it's March 31st. Since then, I have not felt that heat. So it was like specifically on my birthday, it was just like perfect for me to go and do what I wanted, which was to go to the beach. So I was feeling a bit flustered, and internally I was not feeling at one with myself in a way. I was feeling a bit outside of myself. And so the day was nice. I decided to drive down to the beach from where I'm at in Central Florida. So it was a couple hours of a drive, and I went to this beach off of Anna Maria Island called Bean Point, which you will see in the videos that I am showing here. So it was a beautiful day. It was super warm out. I didn't even think that I would go into the water, but the water was so nice and it was so hot that I was in the water for hours on end, just kind of as you can see, it's a beautiful beach. You know, the water is just perfectly blue. So I was just out there swimming on my back and stretching in the water. I would sit down and do some stretches, and I was looking at, so many people having a great day with their families. It wasn't too crowded, thankfully, but there was some people there. There was a lot of birds, as you will see. I was kind of hanging out, and birds were just, this tall. I don't know what kind of bird this is, but this thing just like walked in front of me and just stood up, like straight up. And I mean, the thing looks like a dinosaur almost. I know there's a specific name for this bird. I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But what being at the beach did for me that day, reminded me that there are places that each of us has where we can go to escape, and where we can go to relieve some of the pressures that we put on ourselves and external pressures as well. So each of us has some sense of a space where we can go to relieve those things. And I think sometimes the world gets so chaotic, and it's so easy to forget that we have that space that we can go to make ourselves feel a little bit better, or to forget about what's happening in the world, or maybe temporarily kind of like forget what's happening in our regular lives. And maybe not forget, but maybe gives you a space to come back to realize that, things will be okay, and the external or the problems that are in my life are temporary, and those will pass. So I'm sitting here at the beach, and it's my birthday, and I'm by myself. My friends were busy and doing other things. And personally, I was happy to spend the day alone on my birthday. I think I needed that. To spend the day alone, to reflect on myself, my life, where I want to go, personal growth, how I've grown, and to really look at the situations of my life and maybe have a better understanding as to how things, even though they might feel like they're in a gray area, there's really this beauty outside of that gray area, which makes it all worth continuing and pushing towards those greater things. So sitting at the beach, it's something that since I was a kid growing up in California, is something that always brought me peace. And throughout my life, being by the water has always brought me peace. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking out and the waves are crashing down. And the sun is just beaming out of the sky and just down to the earth, reflecting off the water. And it was just that moment of peace that I really kind of almost forgot was there, mainly because it's been pretty cold. So who's thinking about going to the beach when it's winter time? But now that spring is starting to kick in, and I had that beautiful day, it just brought me back to remind myself, like, wait, I have this place that I can go to that is special for me. It helps me kind of come back into myself. It helps me become more centered. Since I went to the beach that day, I felt like all of this hectic situations and stuff in my head, I felt like I was able to just push that aside and just be in the moment of where I was at the beach. And it's such a simple thing. I mean, maybe for you, maybe it's the beach, maybe it's hiking in the forest, maybe it's being in the middle of a big city. Maybe that's what brings you comfort. Or maybe it's being in the desert where there's no one, and or maybe it's being with your friends or loved ones in a space that you feel comfortable in. Whatever that space is for you, don't forget that you have it. I know not everyone may have that space, and that's the reality of it. Is as much as I want to say everyone has the space, there are some people who either don't have the space, or maybe they don't even know that they have that space because of all the external clutter that life sometimes brings. But if you don't have that space, I highly recommend you try to find that space. And if you do have the space that you know of, say maybe it's like I said, I haven't been to the beach since last fall, really, because it's been so cold. But if you can look if you can remember and look back into certain environments that made you feel good, don't forget that those things still exist. If it still exists, then it still exists. If it's the beach is still there. If it's the rainforest is there. If it's the desert is there. But I highly recommend, with so many things going on in this hectic, crazy world, that you never forget to reconnect with that space that brings you comfort, that brings you mental clarity, that brings you inner peace, that brings you the light that you might need in this dark space that you're in. Or maybe it's a gray space, but maybe you just need that little bit of light to really bring you back to the realization that things have been okay, they can be okay. And if they haven't been okay, well, you know what? There is a space for you, and things can get better and things can be all right. But I just wanted to share some of the insight, because I really did, I think, leading from most of February and into March and into my birthday, I felt like my birthday was really, like, everything else was a lead up, and I felt like my birthday and the experience that I had on my birthday and seeing this beautiful sunset and just being out there with nature, for me, minimal people. I know some people love being around tons of people. But I'm in like an introvert extrovert person, so it just depends on my mood. But anyway, just I guess what I'm saying is you have a space and there is a place for you to come back to yourself. Just don't forget that. I don't want to just keep going on and on and on about that, but it's such a true thing to me. And I just wanted to share some of these videos and some of these clips that you see to show what a day that I had. And I hope that this is inspiring you to go out and be in that place that gives you the most comfort, whatever that might be for you. So just wanted to share that. And that was really all I had to say for this video. Again, it's just a follow up because it's some of the things that I left out when making the first video, but that's okay. We can always do follow-ups. So until next time, this is Voices of the Internet, and I look forward to sharing with you more of my voice as well as other voices, random voices on the internet that I come across. Stay tuned, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.